GCSE examiners are increasingly interested in your ability to interpret as well as to calculate these averages. So this skill is really just about your interpretation of the averages. For question 1, I've given you 5 items of data about heights of students. The data are given to you in order. Now, there's a mistake in the last item of data. There's no way that somebody is 1,740 centimetres tall. That's 10 times as tall as normal. What I'd like you to do is to calculate the mean and the median using that data. What I'd then like you to do is try and do exactly the same thing, but having removed the mistake. And I want you to see what happens to the mean and what happens to the median when you remove that outlier item of data. After that, I want you to complete the sentence. One of the averages is better to use when there's an extreme item of data. Can you explain which average is better if you've got an extreme item of data like you do up here? For the second question, you've been given 2 different bus companies with which you can travel to school. Bus company A has a mean wait time for a bus of 5 minutes, and the range of the waiting times is 10 minutes. Bus company B has a mean waiting time of 7 minutes and has a range of waiting times of 3 minutes. What I would like you to do is to compare the 2 bus companies. Now, in a GCSE question, when it asks you to compare, you will need to write a sentence comparing which one's better on average and a sentence comparing which one is more reliable. I'd like you then to come to a conclusion about which of those 2 companies you would use to travel to school, and make sure you've got good reasoning as to why you've chosen it. Okay, pause the video now, have a go at answering those yourselves, and then we can work through the solutions in a second. Okay, so when we have a look at our mean and median height from the original data, the mean was 480.4, you probably did that on your calculator, which is fine, and the median was 168 centimetres. Notice that because you've got this outlier here, those are very different numbers, so that big number has really dragged up the mean. And you can see that in real life in quite a lot of scenarios. So for example, in Seattle in America, the mean income is about double the national average for the United States, purely because Bill Gates lives there. So it can have a major effect on the mean by having one extreme value. Once you remove that data, you're just left with these 4 data items, and suddenly the mean drops all the way down from 480.4 to 165.5, so that mean has changed a lot. The median has only changed a small amount. It hasn't had a big impact on the median. So here, the mean and the median look much closer together because there's no longer an extreme value which is pulling that mean all the way up. So if you've got an extreme item of data, like you've got Bill Gates, who's the world's richest man, you might be better off using the median as your average because it's not going to be nearly as swayed by having a really big data item or a really small data item as the median is. So the median is the better average to use because the mean is too swayed by any outlier data items. For the second question, I would expect to see a response which says that bus company A is normally quicker because it's normally 5 minutes rather than 7 minutes, but B is more reliable because there's less range in the waiting time. You can argue either way of which one you choose to get to school. Most people would choose option B because it's less likely that they're late for school, so less likely that you would get a detention because you've got that increased reliability. If you want to know more about those averages, please take a look at Hegarty clip number 413. There's 2 marks available for that last question, so that should be out of 7 in total. Hegarty 413 if you're looking for more help on this topic. Very well done.